Talk to me about the difference between good stress and bad stress.
Yeah.
And how you've been able to harness the right amount when you've got it right.
In the book, actually, I interviewed Dr. Aditi Nurikar, and you met her.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Fantastic, right? Yeah. And we got into this whole conversation of good stress, bad stress. Use stress, good stress versus bad stress, distress. And, we talked about how good stress could lead to resilience. It could lead to growth. It actually could lead to a stronger culture. You're never really going to have a stress-free work environment.
Agreed.
We're always going to have stress at work. We're all going to have deadlines. We're all going to have things we're going to want to hit. But not everything has to be, just like you said, 24/7, 365, because at some point, it's going to stack so much that you as a leader are realizing you're probably not being very efficient. Your employees are probably not working super efficiently, not working well together. And you've caused a lot of bad stress, distress in their life. That's leading to things like anxiety, depression, and then starts to lead to physical ailments, because we know there's a linkage between, your mental health and your physical health. And so that becomes a very vicious cycle, especially in the workplace. And that leads to a lot of unproductivity. What I've found with the two is you really have to find that right balance and understand there will be, and just talk about it. There's a push. We're all going to make a push. Stuff that I look at for good stress and bad stress, and recognize there's always going to be a push-pull, but that's the part where you can't do it alone. You got to have a good team. You got to talk about it. You do this so well, and make sure that becomes part of your fabric, your culture, your DNA. And I think it's shifting, but it's slow.
Yeah.
I think the conversation around mental health in everyday life, it's the most approachable it's ever been. Right? I talk about things with my own kids today around mental health. When I was a child I'd be curious, like for you, like immigrant family, we didn't talk about our mental health in my household, right? We talked more about powering through things. And I can talk about that later, but we didn't really talk about it. My kids talk about it. They may overuse it at times, not use it the right way. It's okay. They're having the conversation. Their friends are having the conversation. I think that's great. But when you go to the workplace, it kind of stops, and I go to so many places and I'm like, do you talk about your mental health at work? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, let's change that dialogue. Let's make it as approachable as it is in everyday life. And how do we start to do that? Let's give you the tools, and we'll start at the top.
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. What you're painting a picture of for me is that I look at the good stress being when we all know what challenge we're up against. We know what the goal is, and everyone feels supported. And I think what often happens is people don't know what the goal is because you're not helping them do that. They only see the challenge and they don't feel supported.
That's right.
So now they don't know where they're going, and they feel if they fall flat on their face, they have nothing to catch them.
That's right.
As a leader, the goal is to provide the goal and the support, and then the person can focus on the challenge.